Nothing bad happens if I do this video to me and my road spirits and my spirit team. I don't know what's going on. I heard that. Hopefully, this isn't prophetic. I actually had a dream about a rival PCA, somebody that initially put this shit on me. Coming to me saying that there's nothing they can do, woo, can't help me out, wah, 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 and all this other shit. With that being said, middle of the night, well, yesterday I had to buy a new phone. Because this one got fucked up. I was actually making inroads. I had a visit from Jehoshaphat, who saw my situation. He works with Legua. Both Legua and Baron Samedi got decimated by the Illuminati a couple of days ago. And, he was urging me, the other day when I had to get my cell phone fixed, we just work with your third eye. Do, like what you did in the past. And I did that yesterday. I'm not sure if it's effective given the circumstances. Like I say, I hear weird shit about, at night, even though it goes as though it's got lights, and even when there's no fog, I can't see the fucking downtown LA, so something weird is going on. I kind of wanted to visit a friend down there, but not in these weird circumstances. I was warned, actually. I went over there to a cell phone place, tried to get my phone fixed. It's an old phone, 150. I actually, brought that one. That's my favorite color, too. Aqua blue. That just appeared out of nowhere. And that's going too slow. I've never seen planes go that slow. So, I went over to that shop for help. But to make a long story short, with my phone, my cell phone turned off. I didn't touch it at all. The next thing I know, it stopped on Instagram. Another thing I want to mention too is I noticed that after getting this phone fixed, I got it for $80. Not that far from here, it was right off the Florence in Broadway, about 4705 Broadway B. I got no issues with them given this, circumstance. I say, downtown got lights and everything, and I can't see it, even at night. It keeps vanishing, and you can see it even when there's no fog. You can see it through the haze. But anyways, I wanted to mention too, when I got this phone back, it was, they were telling me, don't get another phone because it's, woo, don't fuck with it. Something motherfuckers gonna fuck with it. Lying with it, something. Them motherfuckers gonna fuck with it. Make a long story short, I noticed that the frequencies mentioned in 1.7 hertz got removed. And it was no longer effective. I know I was moving frequencies, one of them permanently, so that could be it, but then I brought it back, so I don't know. But I noticed that was weird. Very, very fucking weird. The 3.2 hertz was missing, 3.5 hertz. I downloaded them frequencies because what the Illuminati, from what I saw on that thing, what they did is that they got me somewhere where I can't see them being held hostage on the ship, on 3iAtlas. And they got, my consciousness as well as them road spirits. I was trying to rescue them yesterday. Baron Samedi was telling me, don't go out there at all. Get your cell phone fixed. Just, use your third eye. And I should have used my third eye for, it was something else a couple of days ago. It was, like I did in the past, but I get confused. That's why I like frequency, because frequency is more accurate. It helps get your shit back and it's accurate. He was like, just use your third eye and use that to, just like with, get out this shit. With that being said, a couple of days ago, I was told when this first happened, I would see, feel force fields. And, on the first couple of days, it would have been, blatant. I was walking up Main Street, and that looks like Vernon, Main Street in Vernon. And when I walked past a certain point, it was not that far from the first building up there. I felt like a force. And I felt that, but never like that. And I thought that was very, very odd. And I was warned, you go past a certain point, you're going to start feeling force fields and shit, keeping you in. And what up, you wouldn't have been able to walk past. No, you're surrounded by his roach attachments. So I went to a place on that phone keeps acting weird. It keeps, turning off. I know I have a lot of stuff on my cell phone, but usually I'll know it, right before it turns off. But with that being said, it's been mad weird. I walked past that certain point, and I was told that I wouldn't be able to see what's going on. I was told, for instance, after I brought the new phone, and after I got this cell phone fixed and all of that, my whole spirit team got decimated, and I wouldn't be able to see it through my third eye. It was already compromised because, from what I understand, right before I walked out, the royal family, they did somewhere, they used a roach attachment, somebody from around here, and opened up my consciousness to where they could come in and started pilfering shit. And were setting themselves up to be my higher to highest selves. I was told by Baron Samedi I should have just, and I was working with my third eye. And the road spirits is hard because of how this shit here with these Atlas aliens, I know how to defeat them. I know exactly what they are. From what I understand, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. They don't, a lot of people, they're quick to put blame on Pinedar reptilians. But like from what I saw a couple of days ago, I actually freed Pinedar. He was a nice reptilian who wanted a lot of power, who made a deal with the seer cards. And I talk about it on my blog. You use 7,000 hertz. I was using 7,000 combined with 1150 hertz to, do something about them. 735 hertz can also work. Hopefully that don't work against my road spirits. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if those are my entity attachments. I'll shut down just when I mention that. With that being said, I keep fucking with my road spirits bad. From what I understand, they made a deal with the seer cars. And hopefully that frequency isn't used against my road spirits. I hope I'm not hurting any of my entity attachments. They made a deal with the seer cars, which are actually, in fact, a lot of people in, conspiracy circles mistakenly think that those are the seer cars were stolen by the road spirits. They're reptilian, actually are, in fact, flying cockroaches. And that's where you get a lot of your shit from. In the case of these flying cockroaches, they hail from, whatchamacallit's timeline. Mose Million's timeline here. Because them poor little things are already beleaguered. They putting them through pure fucking hell. And I only see this. I only see three walls. I only see, the physical. And it don't look as bad as they say it is. But I see the proofs, the force field coming up, all of that. I just hope I'm not fucking up my entity attachments by mentioning that. I think we all have roach realms and all of that. I had mine bequeathed to me by Baron Samedi at birth. And that's for like people going through a lot of arduous spiritual whatchamacallits. But anyways, the seer cards made a deal with Pine Dog to become great and all that shit. And they just made the guy sacrifice, had his, just like they were doing with me. I heard Till Swan actually had some of my stuff. What they call you Erasmus, and started disseminating it. Not that, but it's something else. The Kundalini, the back of your spine. I think it's the same. But they started disseminating it. And I heard they were trying to make me, because of the, thing with Hecate and all of that, a sacrifice for that. I heard that it was something Halliburton, a Hybrid or something, a German lady. Her and her husband, David Rain or something, they run a house where they make people sacrifices to Hecate, and they couldn't fully do that to me because I'm supposed to be a successor or some shit like that, and I'm supposed to go through this and prove my word. A couple of days ago, I was trying to get back in my body. Hopefully it wasn't too little and too late. And looking back on it, I wish it's compromised and it's fucked up. It's hard when somebody is acting in the energy of your higher, highest self. I wish I would have gotten rid of Cassandra Nunes. That is the derivation for all this shit. I don't know if I was getting back in my body yesterday. I don't know. It's just so much deception going on within internally because I'm so compromised. That's why I don't like doing tarot readings for people. Because I'm fucked up. But, with that being said, the Rothschilds were discussing with the seer cards to make me a sacrifice. And, when I did something, it was my rose spirits primarily who did it. When I did something in the spirit plane, when they did it really in the spirit plane to try to free people, we were working with Santa Muerte. She was helping us. They happened upon something where the Windsors and them, and the Rothschilds primarily, they were formerly pig farmers or something. They stole their power. That's how the Romanovs, that's how the Pahlavis, that's Pahlavis of Iran, that's how they all fell. And I think the Iranians were smart. They made a deal with Allah. They didn't fuck with that reptilian evil shit. They were like, nah. Saudi government, Saudi royals. But anyways, the Habsburgs and all of them, they were the fiercest fighters because they saw them coming. They saw the shit coming. They were like, we don't want no part of it. They disseminated all the other royal families after making a direct deal with the Windsor Mountbattens, who keep trying to make themselves, I saw in the spirit plane my highest self, just like as I saw, with my parents becoming, a next life curse. I was told they threw my mother off 3iAtlas because she was just, you can always heal somebody with 3517 hertz, 3517 hertz combined with 1115 hertz. If you can't find somebody, 1115 hertz. 117 hertz combined with 800 hertz. When I was getting fucked with in the middle of the night, I started playing that so I could get my shit back. If somebody part of your bloodline, like in my case, Baron Samedi, that can help a little. Archangels and all that, revive them. And hopefully they don't use that knowledge against me. But it did something to render them, and I felt it in real time, render the mother, ancient royal families back their power. And from what I understand, the Rothschilds were going over, they were taking over and going over to the royal family, saying, here, we'll give you all this power. Like I said before, the Windsor Mountbattens and the Rothschilds would do something. They would give off a piece of their consciousness. They trying to make me a sacrifice to do, I saw in 2037, Los Angeles being an island, where they give these beings a piece of their consciousness so they can get power in exchange over humanity and, cattle farmers, just like they did when they were pig farmers, Rothschild, and the Windsor Mountbattens primarily. And they only get, I think, $500, $12 cosmically something. And they don't get a lot of money. With that being said, from what I understand, they stole all these royal families' power and imbued it, put it into them. And so the road spirits did something to bring it back and to render them their power back. And they were very overjoyed and happy. And with that being said, the Rothschilds, they were looking for me for forgiveness. I'm like, you fucked up my family. Not the Rothschilds, Windsor Mountbattens. I'm like, you fucked up my family. Andrew fucking cut up and diced and tortured the shit out of my brother. Nah, bitch, you gotta die, nigga. Fuck you, nigga. I ain't one of them forgiving ass Umama niggas. I'm not from Africa, motherfucker. I'm mixed. I'll beat your motherfucking ass. Them poor people they sacrifice routinely are nice people. They good people. I was told they don't like black Americans because we don't deal with none of that. That's why everybody else, they don't give counselor homes to except the Africans. They quick to give them that because they provide them with the sacrifices. Look at this woman that was in Epstein's house. I heard that they were getting people from Hecate as well as Santa Muerte's roach realms. I was told a little child spirit guide would come out, little blonde hair baby would come out, or a child little spirit guide would come out and say, no, you ain't taking that to do your ritual. No. And Santa Muerte put an end to it. That's why they got a hard on for going after her, Mexicans and all that. Quetzalcoatl, by the way, is y'all demiurge. That's why they can't fuck with y'all. They can't fuck with the South Americans. They can't fuck with y'all. And they trying to do something in that timeline to fuck with y'all, I learned. Control the consciousnesses of the Africans as well as the South Americans. But y'all got Quetzalcoatl to be under. The problem is, that's why I talk about black people don't know their power. They got y'all under Yoda boat with hair bronze and skin of wool. But I learned that the real demiurge is fucking praying mantis. It's all fucking insectilian type shit. And they were set up by the ancient Cometians. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with that. I know you can go to them for jurisdiction type shit, but it seemed like a bigger hole you dig with this shit, the more you feel confined to a fucking box and you feel helpless and hapless. With that being said, I know the blueprint for him is one of the original blacks is Aludamare. Be able to get under him, I understand he controls a timeline where it's very egalitarian. It's like 3,500 people. It's very egalitarian. So you may be able to get under him, instead of that bullshit. And make sure you ain't under, like I talked about here, the witchamacallings of the demiurge. the archetypes, the avatars. So with that being said, they're trying to, the Rothschilds, after I did all of that, I didn't fuck up. There's somewhere I fucked up. I always fuck up. I don't know why. They did something. I was thinking something where they thought I gave them permission, tacit permission. I'm like, I ain't giving you seed cards no permission, man. Get the fuck out of here with your shit. And everything reverted right back the same, which was better. But I'm like, y'all got to get back to y'all shit. Get out of here with y'all shit. He's actually fair and he's been helping me out. I say it to him point blank, y'all got to get out of here with y'all shit. With that being said, the Rothschilds went to him making a deal to make me a sacrifice because of my successorship to He. I always work with the devil no matter what. Successorship to He. Shouldn't have done that. There's my energy all over the fucking place, and these motherfuckers will compromise my shit in the New York second. So I shouldn't have done that. I don't like this shit. With that being said, hopefully nothing fucked up. Nothing got fucked up, hopefully. By me doing that, I can't even, shit good. With that being said, I saw in 2037 that they were going to bring about a major natural disaster. They were going to use Hecate's powers or something, stealing it by giving it to Zendaya. I felt the other day how it feels to no longer be a sacrifice. I made her the sacrifice. She did something where she put a Russian great-grandmother in my timelines or something and set her up to stay out of hell realms as long as I stay a sacrifice for Zendaya Coleman, and put my grandmother Dorothy here as the sacrifice for You know, I heard that the people in Malibu or something, I got a halibut and a halbert, hybrid. I should have used my third eye. Should have, like, even now, you know, try to get back in my body. I'm trying to get off this bullshit. And I felt like I almost came close yesterday. I was trying with my poor daddy and all that. William Williams Jr. I heard that they took him, and I saw him on the ship. I heard it was just merely a roach attachment. They couldn't do shit for my mother. 3517 hertz, if hard to find. 3517 hertz combined with 115 hertz. There was another frequency, 117 hertz combined with 800 hertz. Since everything lives in your bones, which revives physical bodies, are good to get your shit back. You know, I felt it the other day. I was playing 735 hertz, and they rendered it, you know, me, you know, inadequate to be able to play, unable to fuck with them. You know, you can use I think 142 hertz, 3400 hertz, change shit back. If somebody fucking with your frequency to correct it, 142 hertz I know is really, really good. 145 hertz was another one I used to use back in the day. But if they block your ability to play frequency. But anyways, I started making them a sacrifice there. I was like, nah, y'all did this shit to me, my family, cut my brother. Nah, bitch, I ain't no mama, motherfucker. I'ma fuck your ass up. We sitting up here torturing me as a ritual. I saw them rape Princess Beatrice or whatever the girl's name. You see she looked fucked up. Raping her daddy as a ritual. Prince Charles. I saw, what's her name? Princess Diana complicit.